Ashvi Perikesh Ashvi, is that right? Anyone have the place?
Okay.
Okay. Maybe middle of Hamishi. No? I think so. I think we were. Okay, HaChamishi. Kashayach Shebegula Saboris Barach. Voiz Gurosai. What are we doing in Perikei? In Perikei, we are explaining the means that brings a person to another. And he says there are 7 things. So one of them, when a person thinks about the greatness of Hashem, there are other ones who are talking about yourself. You know, your obligations to Hashem, you're not here forever, what you came from, what goes through your life. And now, the other side of the spectrum is when you give thought to the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bar Yisparach, V'oiz Gvurasai. On top, on the bottom. Sha'alav Lachshav Hu, Gvurasai Gvurasai Hatsuma Shal Bar Yisparach. The tremendous greatness and power that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees through, sees your outside, sees your inside. You turn Latzmei Musag Nala Day, and you could picture this concept, this idea she's born there, but Madrigas haGadolis for haNora ois, Shesiku of Racha, Al Harbe Chasim Sher B'Daris HaKoyim. By being mispoining on the tremendous madrigas that our Senor Chazal told us about the earlier, the Hasidim of the earliest, it's going Mashipra Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, to tell us about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Reb Yechanan, Bar Rav Sheshes, Nosan Ba'inav and Asagal Shal Tzomos. The more there says, someone, whatever, someone said something wrong, and it says Nosan Ba'inav that they looked at him, and the person became a pile of bones. He disintegrated. You have a famous story of Yonis ben Uziel. When he was teaching Torah, a bird that flew over his head would be consumed, would be burnt. The birds will have some type of comprehension. I don't know what comprehension we could have of them, but of the tremendous, awesome madrega that the Tanaim had. So the message should be as great as the Tanaim, and we hear these stories of their abilities, right? As great as they were, no question that the Nevi'im were even greater. And yet we find them Psukim Shekasha Nevi'im Pokshu Malachim Koicham Names. That when they Nevi'im cross angels, all their abilities just dissolved. They bowed down in front of them. Daniel, Yoshua, Valhabre Kamoyim, Rafal, Madrigosam Agdoil, vhaNora Shamalachim, and with all the madrigas, this tremendous levels of the Malachim, but we do find in Nevi'im that these same Malachim, that they're like way beyond comprehension, that they nullify themselves, they bow, they nullify themselves to Hashem. Tzva Shamayim Malachim, V'nemehein ba'avodav lo yamin, b'malochav yosim tahola, v'nemo v'echoloi kulo yamer kopit, v'nemo v'kor zel zevam kodesh 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 Hashem tzvokes malach kavod, and amito shadavar says the truth is Misha Novain Ubar Da'as, someone who's wise. Einu tzarich l'tar latzmas duas Hashem b'deroseh. Someone who's wise doesn't need to go down this route. This seems to be a very low way of, simple level of simple means of getting the picture to yourself, the greatness of Hashem by Saying, well, they're so big, and they've been bigger, and they're about themselves so well. But he says someone who's Nava in a Bardas doesn't need to use the system. It's great enough. It's enough. It's sufficient to touch at least the Gedulas Hashem by looking at his creations, the whole Shara Bechina. The more we learned in the Shara Bechina, and especially Rav Miller's expertise and everything in the world, you come to comprehend Hashem's greatness just that way. Hashemesh, the balance of the Shemesh, the balance of the Yereach, and to us, everything that's in the world, inanimate, things that grow, live. But someone who isn't a bar, someone's not excel, he will understand it. Be sorry, right? You see God just from looking at yourself. So you don't need to do that first process. You can come to, I don't know if you could say, to appreciate the greatness of Hashem on some level by just studying what's going on all around us. Kula chashivin. When a wise person does the math, and how much more, right? He makes a cheshbon. How many people in the world? Pikama gadol hu kadur haaretz mi'amok ha'mechos govnei. And how great the universe is compared to the area, our world, I think it means people live. Become a god who galgal hayareach kadul haaretz. This is like astronomy, but how much greater is the galgal hayareach from the kadul haaretz? Become a gadol haGadol E-l Elyon. Migalgal Irech, we explain it to haKol, the Gabi Gdulas Habreis for a kind reference, and then give thought how all of that, the whole world. Today they know there's so many galaxies and more galaxies, billions, almost the safe type of thing, and it's nothing compared to Kodesh Baruch Hu. Then itself, with a means to bring you to humble yourself in front of Hashem. When I see your skies, your heavens, created by your fingers, moon, the stars that you established, so what's a person benadam kisif kitenu? It's nothing. That brings you to humility. And adavar hashishi, sha'alav liskar, a sixth thing. It's like it's not kedai. This sounds like it's not kedai to be arrogant because it's tremendous punishment for those people. And on the other side, the other side of the coin, how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so mashkiach on the humble. Ha'amurim b'sifrei hanavim, what's recounting Sefer Nevi'im, this tremendous einish. Yeshayahu says, "Any gavus odom shofel v'shach rum anoshin v'niska yemahu yom dem tavakas akgeya v'ram v'kol nisa v'shofel." So he explains on the bottom, "Any gavohis odom shofel greiva einayim shel odom Yishofel should be lowered. V'shach rum anoshim v'gavas anoshim tinomich. What's tinomich means to make it lower. This kashan v'adi b'rema. U'kshira jisra Hashem b'yema din haGadol. When Hashem becomes visible, so to speak, that great day of judgment, Yakiru v'yedu kulam, everyone will realize the only one who has a right, so to speak, for Gaiva Gedula is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because he's the only inherently great being. Ki Yom Hashem Tzavakis, Ki also Hashem La'avi Yom. Hashem in the future is going to bring a day. I'll call Geya Varam, I'll call Nisa, V'Shafel, Yishafel, call Geya Varam Nisa. At that point, everyone's going to be home. So the fifth way, the sixth way of bringing yourself to humility is thinking about the punishment and this that there is for someone who's a Baal Gaiva, and tremendous hashkacha that there is for someone who's an Anaf. V'nemar, there's a Mishnah, Ifnei Shever going, Ifnei Kisholin, Goiva Ruach. That Goiva Ruach is a prescription for Kisholin, to bring it down. U'mashenemar, Al Hanovim, what it says about those who are humble, Hanovim Yucho Oretz. It's the humble that are going to conquer the world. V'nemar, Yad Moshach Hashem Oisi Lebasar Nevasar Hanovim. Don't know what that means. V'nemar, Kikar Ma'arom V'nisa Sheikh Herad V'Kodesh Shemoi. Excuse me. Yan Moshach Hashem Oisi Levasar Anovim V'nemar Kikar Ma'arom V'nisa Sheikh Herad V'Kodesh Shemoi. Morim V'Kodesh Eshkoin V'Stadako Shvar Ruach. That Hashem rests with the Daka Shvar Ruach. Mashenem al Shneim Me'oided Anovim Hashem. We say this every day. Mashvu Rishayim Adar Bet. Hashem gives Hidud, gives encouragement to the Anovim, and he's Mashvu, and he lowers down the Rishayim to the ground. V'nemar Ki Rav Hashem. Hashem is so high. V'shafri Yoreh, and he sees the lowest. V'goiva, v'shafo yeira'eh, v'goiva mimercha ki yeda. It says v'goiva v'eshageya mimercha v'nashamayim archoikim yaser v'yashvil. Okay. V'nemar l'fnei shever yidva leiv ish v'fnei kavod anav. So that's number 6. Number 6. Here. Summarize number 6. That there's a tremendous punishment for the Baal Gaiva and tremendous reward for the Baal Hanofim. V'adavar ashavi. This boy, what you have to give thought to is who ketzan mamodim shnei adam is hapech ba'olam. And even if you're in a point of power, a position of power now, person's status, standing, turns over in a moment. Bekama Meyer mischafos by Hamal Moches from Sholis, kingships. Also, they change so regularly. Ve'ech. Anoshim oivim boy, mimatzav lamatzav. On a person in this world it's not static. He goes from one situation to another situation. And how a complete nation is destroyed. Al Uma Acheres. Yitzchak, you can't talk here. I'm sorry. Okay, but a whole nation is just wiped away. For the benefit of another one. And we all end up dying. V'lo yiskrav v'mu'uma b'kinyonei ha'olam. I mamish can't. Actually, explain because when a person gives thought to all this, you're going to humble yourself. V'lo yiskrav. The mu'uma b'kinyonei, and everything you have, it gives you a feeling of gaiva, acquisitions, positions, anything. Right? These are things that are causes for gaiva. So if you give thought to how fragile your status is, fortunes are lost, countries are gone, right? Personal status has changed quickly, and you don't, you're humbled. You know that what you have now isn't necessarily what you're going to have tomorrow. You won't rely on anything to have. He put Hashem as his. He didn't relax. He didn't put his trust in the Rahavim by the guy. Shote Chosav. Right? So, number 7, when you realize that the gaiva, the status that brings you the gaiva is so fragile, also humbles you. Because if a person constantly thinks about these 7 points, he'll always be humbled. To the extent that Hachno will be rooted in his nature, and won't leave him. When a person attaches himself, humbles himself, that's gonna automatically cause him that any expressions of gaiva are gonna be pushed away. We said, and it'll protect him from sinning. Sorry. Right? The 3 things. Where do you come from? Where you're going? Who's going to judge you? These were 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 of the 7. With these thoughts, someone really gives thought to that, so he's humble. No place. There's no place for gaiva. Not your start, not your end, not your middle. Who's going to be judged by? Automatically, there's no room for gaiva there. Okay, I'm falling asleep. I have to stop. Sorry.
When do the clocks change?